Well, hello and welcome to Old People This Week. My name is Jeff, and those two scalawags, both members of the Silver Fox skating crew. That's Mike and Paul. We are your hosts. Old People This Week is a podcast for people of the greatest generation of all time. I'm speaking about baby boomers, of course. We gave you everything that's worth anything in your life, and don't you forget it. Every week, we give old people what they need to sound smart on the weekend when they're hanging out with their friends, playing mahjong, hitting a golf ball, or hitting happy hour, which is where Mike and I, we will hit pretty hard. All right, I want to say this before we start. Please subscribe. This is a straight out beg. If you subscribe, Mike will roll up his shirt and he'll curl his right bicep. It is a sight to behold. Both men and women will weep copiously for different reasons, of course. All right, we got comments. We got tons of comments. That's the byproduct of getting popular. You start getting a lot of comments.
Good.
Yeah.
Bring them on. Bring them on.
This is from a person named Courtney Biddle. She said, enjoyed your show, podcast, subscribed. Oh, that's great. Okay, you subscribe. Mike will now roll up his sleeve. Go ahead, Mike. Or better yet, he'll come to your house, go into your front yard, and he'll get down on the ground and he'll do one-arm push-ups.
Yeah, you pay my airfare, I'll do anything. I'll be there.
Well,
I'd pay to see you do a one-arm push-up. You'd be lying on the ground crying like a baby.
Oh, no. Be a marathon.
And then we heard from the one, the only Allison Moreland, of course.
Of course.
Mike's number one fan and only fan.
Not
She
true,
loved all the
Allison.
giggling. Huh?
Not true, Allison.
How come nobody likes me? I don't know why.
It's that hairdo. For Christ's sake, look at that. That's frightening. Frightening.
She loved all the giggling at the top of the show, which was actually because we were laughing about something else, and I pressed record, and there you go. And she said, Mike really loved that blue shirt. He didn't wear it for you, though, Allison.
Yeah, it's being cleaned for next time.
It's got Mary scrubbing it in the wash basin.
oh,
We got from a person named Barbara. She sent us heart and laughing emojis, which you can't beat.
Wonderful. Love that.
And,
Good.
And this guy named Todd said, in reference to our last story about Gene Hackman, that
Yeah.
he said it seems like Mrs. Hackman could have used a property manager to check for rodent entry points, as well as a full-time nurse to assist her with Gene. Well,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Todd, that's kind of hindsight, but yeah, of course, that's what she should have done instead of who knows what happened. What how horrible it must have been for her to somehow get rat disease and then die in the laundry room.
God.
yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah. All right. And we heard from a woman named Anna. She's having some health issues, so we send our best. And finally, from a person named Connie Ford. She said, I'm a 71-year-old female. I can't get anyone younger than 40 to look at me, let alone have a conversation. Now, that's sad.
Yeah.
By the way, we're having a conversation with you right now.
Right now.
I guess we're not under 40, though. So
No.
that doesn't count.
It's all right, but we're still damn good looking. And we'll pay attention. And we pay attention.
Fine.
We're listening.
Love like mine.
Oh, no.
And then she says, LOL, my children are having, oh, wait a minute. LOL, my children are amazing, but since these phones and computers have come, they know it all. They look up something and call it wisdom.
Yeah. No, they don't know it all. They just know how to push a button and read what comes up on the screen. But they don't know what it means. They have no context.
Connie, you're speaking to the choir. This is practically what this podcast is about every week, is wondering what the hell happened to the generations after us. Mike, Paul, and I, we have real wisdom, kind that comes with age, experience, and a lot of book learning.
Yep. Hands-on experience.
Hands-on experience. Okay, let's get right to the celebrity news. Mike, give us give us the short, concise version of what the hell was in Gene Hackman's estate.
His estate was worth $80 million, in the neighborhood of $80 million. None of which, by the way, was granted to any of his 3 children in his will. He gave everything to his wife. And her will, interestingly enough, has a codicil that says if they died within 90 days of each other, it was to be considered by the administrators of the estate to be a simultaneous death. And in that case, she willed all of her assets, which at this point would include Gene's 80 million, to charity. So the 3 children, the Hackman children now, have retained counsel, and there'll be the predictable dust up over who gets what.
Those ungrateful kids, leave the Hackman money alone. Leave it alone. Let it go to charity.
Yeah,
If he wanted to give it to him, he would have given it to him instead of giving it to the wife and putting together all those codicils to make sure it goes somewhere. And then as soon as they die, they're going after the money.
Yeah, it gets more unfortunate, unfortunately, as time goes by. So it'll be interesting.
I could figure out something to do with $80 million. I'd buy myself a
Get a
bar.
haircut. Get a proper haircut.
Oh, boy. I'd buy myself a whole new head.
By the Floby estate? I don't know what the hell.
Mike, have you put me in your will yet? Let's get that
That's
straightened out
funny.
first.
That's good. Allison's going to love that chuckle.
Okay. Well, at any rate, that's too bad about the Hackman estate, and now it's going to
Yeah.
be a mess for years now where they're going to fight
Yeah.
over it, and
Yeah.
the lawyers will end up taking 40-50% of it anyways.
Yeah.
All right. We have more to say about that scalawag Bill Belichick, the former coach of the New England, Patriots, who's at 72 has gone nuts. He's making us all look bad. As the old saying goes, there's no fool like an old fool, and Belichick
Right.
is an old fool.
Right.
He is an idiot. Was spied out. Where did they take a picture at? Oh, on the beach with
the
her, and doing what no 72-year-old man has any business doing on a beach, lying flat on his back with trying to balance her on his legs, and while she poses, try to pose sexily, and then they post it on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. And it got exactly the result they hoped for.
Yeah. Yeah, what a fool. I mean, that's not what you do at 72. You sit around, you go to sit somewhere, have a drink, relax. She's got him out on the beach making a complete ass of himself laying around. Stupid. He goes nuts.
It's not a midlife crisis, but it's a crisis for sure.
Well, it's worse than a midlife crisis.
No, I think I really do think it's a coaching crisis. I think, it'll be interesting to see what happens when he does this North Carolina thing and gets coaching in the college.
He's coaching young people now. So
Well, that's what
he has to figure out how to relate.
I mean, that must be it. It's something. It's very odd. Very odd.
He's that HR department at North Carolina is going to be working 24 hours a day once he gets on campus around those co-eds.
Yeah, I have one thing to say to Bill Belichick. Prenuptial.
Oh yeah, right.
If he's stupid enough to get married to her, then all bets are off because he's got more than $80 million.
Oh yeah, he's a very wealthy guy.
Yeah. So yeah, he won't be. I don't think he's that stupid. Well, maybe he is. Somebody said to me, but this week when I was ragging about this story, somebody said, "Well, Jeff, if you were Bill Belichick and you had the money and this girl was coming on to you, you'd go out with her." And I said, "No, never, no way. I'll take a woman who's 40 years or older because they are more interesting and they're sexier. Just like the sexiest, most interesting woman in the world, Christy Brinkley."
Oh, brother. See,
Over a picture right now.
I'm gonna start introducing a sound effect every time we hear Christy Brinkley's name, like a bell I'm gonna hit or something.
the combination of your being besotted by Christy Brinkley and that haircut is such a dichotomy. It's like,
Would love to do this hair. I got more hair than that fool Billy Joel has, by the way. You got nothing up there. All right. Here's the next story, the next celebrity story. Celine Dion has had it. Celine Dion's team, these rich people always have teams.
Yeah.
They've taken to social media to issue a stern warning. There have been clips appearing online of her singing and performing, and they're all phony baloney, AI generated, because she can't perform anymore. Do you know what Celine Dion suffers from?
I don't know the name of it, but I know.
I don't know the
Gonna-
proper name, but
I'm going to tell you, it's called her stiff person syndrome diagnosis.
Sounds like a
Stiff person syndrome. That's
description
what
of a
I
personality, not her disease.
stiff person does that. That's got to be something made up just for her. Like some doctors thinking, how can I get some money out of Celine Dion? She's got about $400 billion. Let's
Yeah.
make up this
Yeah,
disease.
easy.
And they're paying me.
Yeah.
All right. Any rate. So now on to my rants today. The first rant is this. 2 years ago, at least, my wife convinces me to watch season 1, episode 1 of White Lotus on Max.
Yep.
And it's basically a long-form series about, what goes on at a luxury resort with all these crazy guests. Well, in season 1, episode 1, Steve Zahn is in, the actor. And Steve Zahn comes out of the water in episode 1, and his package is hanging out, full frontal nudity, and that was it for me. I said, I'm not watching any more White Lotus. You can watch
Really?
this, Valerie. I'm done. I don't care about seeing Steve Zahn's junk, and that was the worst thing in the world. So I didn't watch season 1, and I think she did, but I didn't watch it. And I skipped season 2. So the other, God, 2 weeks ago, she said, hey, let's watch season 3 now. They probably. So I turn on season 3, episode 3 of
episode 3.
of
Right
White
here
Lotus.
he is.
There's that stupid father of those kids that my guy married to Parker Posey. He's full frontal nude. That's it. I bailed. I'm done.
It's like, to what point? I mean, it's
That was-
stupid. God,
that was
it
like-
does nothing for the story. It just, I guess it accomplishes what we're doing right now, is talking about it. And everybody will rush to see White Lotus and see some old guy walking around with his package hanging out, which is about as unmotivating as I can think of.
Oh my God, forget it. That's the last thing I want to see. And there it was in front of me. I almost barfed up my.
It was, and it's
Pasta.
the most easily edited out segment for airline play because it's just like 4 seconds long. It's not even a scene, and yet Jason Isaacs, who's the actor in that, he even said, it's like, I've had more questions about this than anything else in my entire career. And like Mike says, it's just to Google and
He was accused of wearing a prosthetic
Oh,
for the shoot.
I'll tell you something. When we talk about streaming later on, I'll tell you another one that's come up that was on immediately following White Lotus. this
Oh, I
week.
don't want to even hear
Well,
about it. All right.
I'm glad you missed season 2, by the way, because the equally offensive bit in season 2 was the one character who defecated into an open suitcase, and they showed it point blank. I mean, it was horrible. It was just like, what the hell are these people thinking of?
They are getting high and writing these scripts. Who knows what these? I don't even want to know.
No.
All right, let's move on to my other favorite topic, AARP. Now, you know why boomers by the thousands, the millions, are coming and watching this podcast rather than read AARP magazine? Well, I'm going to tell you. I got it in the mail this week, and here's some of the headlines, and I'm not making this up. First headline: When pain becomes unbearable. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the bottled water debate. And the third one: What not to buy at a yard sale.
Oh, man. That'll save some lives.
Oh my God. And then this gripping article said, what's the odor? And then it was subtitled, when your car smells like that, do this. And there's a list of things, if you smell them in your car, what you were supposed to do. Well, one of them was, when your car smells like burning plastic, and then the answer was, it's probably something wrong with the carburetor. And my thing was, if your car smells like burning plastic, get the hell out of your car, idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your seat's on
idea.
fire. Oh, man. And plus, the day I get the magazine in the mail, in the rest of the mail was an envelope from AARP trying to sell me insurance.
Of course.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to sell you insurance. AAA is trying to sell you insurance.
Yeah.
Well,
Next month's cover girl, by the way, for the ARP magazine is Christy Brinkley.
Oh, and she'll sell me insurance. I'll be buying millions of dollars worth of insurance. I don't need life insurance. I don't need a walk-in tub, unlike Mike. I don't need a chair to carry me up the stairs, unlike Paul, who's got it on his mansion over there in South Carolina. He gets on a little chair that scoots up the side of the ball. I don't need that. I am a strong male, 72-year-old, fully I'm ready to go. I don't need any of that stuff. So ARP is not for me.
You can't even find your way to the barber shop. I can't imagine
My way to the barbershop.
the wreck your life is.
All right. Now, after all that negativity here for the last 17 minutes and 50 seconds of this podcast, we're going to go positive. It's National Women's Month. And the three of us have talked off camera. We said, well, we should, do something nice and talk about maybe one of the women in our life who really, affected us,
Yeah.
sort of put us in the right direction or supported us. And so we're going to do that. We're going to start with Paul. Remember, Paul, I edit this show, so don't go.
No, I'll keep it short and brief. It's one person. It's my stepmother who I first met at the age of 10, and I traveled to London, spent the summer with my father and her, and she wasn't easy on me. She really taught me some of life's lessons, and cleaning up for myself and cooking some things in the kitchen and walking the dog, and a lot of things. And later on, she'll be 96, actually today, she's 96.
Wow.
She lives in Montreux, Switzerland. And she's done life right. And by that, I say a life lesson learned. She can still, God bless her, she has all her mental capacity, and she can have a conversation about worldly events. She's very enjoyable to speak to and go to dinner with. And I thank her for the life she shared with me.
Okay,
Cool.
That's nice. Paul, Mike, tell us about the wolf that raised you in the wild.
She suckled me. No, well,
That's what you wish.
No, not too far from reality, because my mother, who was a concert pianist and on staff at Juilliard, by accident met my father, who was a rancher in the Wild West. She gave up her career, moved to the West to be with him, and raised three boys in the middle of nowhere. And typically we all grew up to be cowboys and showing horses and that kind of thing. But I had a particular passion for fine art, and was drawing and painting from a young age. And my mother persevered against the odds of where we were and what we needed to do to make a living every day, and insisted that I got professional instruction, and really pushed me to continue with my art, which I have on and off through my whole life. And then my current wife, Mary, also continues nagging me to do it. And one of these days, probably I'll get back to it seriously. But yeah, the two of them.
Is that one of your paintings there over your shoulder? That painting of the asparagus sticking out of the ground?
Yeah, no, that's Robert Ransom. That's a famous Sacramento artist, painting of my father and the three sons duck hunting. And he gave that to us on our wedding.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's like asparagus to me. All right. I went to my wife. I said, I'm going to do a National Women's Month. Before I got it out of my mouth, she said, don't you dare say a thing about me. So that ended talking about my wife. And then I'll talk about two women quickly here. Number one, I was in college, didn't want to go to college, didn't want to be at college. I certainly didn't want to be one spring afternoon in the classroom. I was supposed to study Chaucer, Canterbury Tales, for Christ's sake. But I was like, it's springtime in Ohio. Every girl was out of the dorm, and they'd taken off their shirts and trying to get tan. And I'm in a classroom, and this old woman walks in. Her name was Dr. Virginia Leland. And I mean old. She was old, bent over with a cane, but had a big smile on her face. And she said, I like to teach Chaucer in the spring. And she got me somehow excited about learning Chaucer, and it sort of turned me around. She was a great old lady. I became friends with her. And then my mom, who was the a very strong-willed Everything black and white, no screwing around with Betty at all. And I'll illustrate this with one. I mean, and she didn't always cut through the BS. She came out to Los Angeles to visit my brother and I, and she inexplicably tries to walk across 8 lanes of street on Wilshire Boulevard and actually got hit by a car.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
It didn't kill her, but it did break about 20 bones on her, including her some pelvic bones, cheekbones, all kind of stuff. So they
Jesus.
rushed her to UCLA hospital, and I get this frantic call from my brother. He goes, "Mom's been hit by a car. You got to come to UCLA." So I speed up to UCLA Medical Center, run in there, find the ICU, and there and under like a tent-like thing is my mom. She's practically all purple, but she's awake and she's looking around. And my brother's sitting there all just devastated because she had been crossing the street to go to his apartment.
Jesus.
Anyway, so I walk in there and she sees me and her eyes light up, and I walk over to her and I pick up the tent kind of thing and I get close to her and she like indicates, "Come close to my lips." So I put my ear down by her lips and she goes, "You forgot my birthday."
oh,
I went, "What?
Man.
That's all you can think about right now?" Anyways, that old goat, she's my Betty. She was a rock. She was crazy, and I miss her every day. So anyway,
nice, nice.
all right, those were our women in the lives who did something for us. Oh, speaking of mothers, my mother, by the way, was hardcore Catholic, and she was not going to allow herself to be cremated. In those days, you didn't do that. You got thrown into a casket and then buried in the ground, and that's the end of it, Buster. There's no more screwing around. Well, I've been reading now that nobody's doing it anymore. Like 62% of all burials are now cremations. That people are just into that. I'm going to do it myself. But the question is becoming, what do you do with the ashes? And it used to be that people would put them in an urn, put them in the house somewhere, put them, or take the cremated ashes and sprinkle them like in the backyard or something normal. Well, people have gotten crazy, of course. If their husband was a Dodger fan, they want to sprinkle the ashes in Dodger Stadium. If they were, like the Masters, they try to sneak onto the course in Augusta and drop the ashes. And then some people have tried to drop them on Disney rides. They've tried to make them into jewelry. You can have an record album made of your husband or wife's favorite song with the ashes mixed in. Anyways, I got to thinking how crazy people are, and then it got me to thinking, what am I going to do? Where am I going to spread my ashes? Well, I'm going to spread my ashes over Mike's house when he's not around. Oh, by the way, I read there was one thing in here. All the stories of what crazy people do with their mates' ashes, and one of you sent me that story. That woman who ate her husband's ashes. And she got ashes on her fingers, and then she didn't want to brush them off around because she felt bad. So she started licking the ashes, and then it kept going until she consumed all her husband's ashes.
Okay.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to do, Mike, with those ashes?
I'm just going to tell him to dump them back into the fire. Once I'm done, I'm done.
Mary will carry them around in a little satchel at the happy hour with her.
She'll walk away doing this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Valerie. Valerie won't even do that. Valerie, after the ceremony's over, she'll fling them somewhere. That would be the end of it.
Yeah.
Paul, what are you going to do?
I'll leave them in the alcohol department at Costco. They actually sell a casket at Costco. If I didn't get cremated, I could get a casket there first.
Yeah.
I want to see you drive up to your neighborhood funeral home and say, "Oh, I have my own box, by the way.
I brought my own.
I brought my own.
What's my price for a
What's the
discount
corkage fee
package?"
for this? When you bring your own casket. Here's what not to do. Don't get buried at sea. So this woman paid some probably extraordinary amount of money to a company to go out and throw her body actually into the sea, burial at sea. And of course, the next day, some fishermen brought it up in their nets.
I love that story. I can just imagine the guy's reeling in. I got a big one. I got a big one.
Got me a whale.
Get the net.
And it's
Christ.
Mom.
They pull up a mummy.
Yeah, we had a lot of those stories, Mike, we had over the past year of talking about. I remember that one family that showed up and to see their loved one, and it wasn't the right person. They put the wrong body in there. And then the classic part of the story was the funeral director refused to admit it wasn't the right body.
Yeah, no, it's
And
just,
they were going, no, that's not him. We know our own, brother who died. And he goes, no, that's him. You just don't recognize him.
Oh my gosh.
God. All right. We got to get serious again here. No more screwing around because we're going to talk about another scam. Here's Tina. She's in her 60s, widow, lonely. Mistake number one, she gets on a dating site. That's the first mistake. You don't need to be getting on any dating site. Because when you're old and you're silly and you're lonely, you don't know what you're getting into, and all of a sudden you're swiping. And this dating site was called Plenty of Fish, by the way. So she meets a dude on there named Darren who says he's a jewelry maker. So mistake number two, she allows herself to keep communicating with him, but not on their website, but on a WhatsApp. Now he has her isolated. He can keep her from, just keep relentlessly telling her whatever she wants to hear. Mistake number three, she starts to believe it when he says, I love you. I want to marry you. I'll come to Nebraska and we'll get hitched. Right?
Right.
So he says that. He says he's coming, and she's like, "Oh, okay, great." Oh, but guess what? Bad things start to happen. He gets robbed. His daughter gets sick, and he has to fly to Montreal. And then he can't. He needs money because now he's stuck up in Montreal. Oh, and he finds out his daughter's pregnant. And because she's been pregnant, there's something wrong. She has to go to the hospital. He needs more money. And of course, Tina is just, where's my checkbook? I'll do it.
Jesus.
Anyways, number four, she starts sending him money. And number five, instead of going to the law, she goes to this crazy YouTube site with the question for them, can you help me find out if Darren is real? Mike, is Darren real?
Oh, God. No.
No, Darren is not Darren. The picture's not real. He's not a jewelry maker. He's not even an American, probably. Who knows what he is? He's probably from sub-Africa somewhere, palming himself off and stealing all our money. But what got me about this one, and before I let you tell her what to do, is that the website that I sent you, I'm not going to name it because in my mind, they're sort of scammers themselves because she goes to them and say, can you find out if he's real? Well, by the way, he's not real. I can tell you that now. You don't need to go to a website to say that. But they go through all this rigmarole and they show themselves working the computer like they're finding all these, like they're the FBI and finding out all this stuff and probably charging her for that too.
Sure.
And also eliciting from her story all the clicks that they're getting from her story. And then, so isn't that kind of a scam too?
Yeah, it's a total scam. In fact, they're probably sitting in the same room as Darren. It's like you get somebody on the hook, they bail or you bail or whatever, and then you go back and get them to pay you to track down a non-existent character.
Yeah. Tina, if you want help, just come to us. We'll take the clicks. We'll take everything. We won't charge you any money. Well, matter of fact, we'll buy you a drink.
Tina, it's more basic than that. Never, ever turn on your damn computer and go to a website. If you need to talk to someone or you need some company, go find a bingo game somewhere, wherever you live. Go to the mall and hang out. Do something to be around real people. If you can have a real conversation, that'd be a bonus. But do not ever turn on your computer and look at any of this crap, because it's specifically designed to entrap you and steal your money.
But if Paul came to my door and knocking on it, I would have him show me his driver's license, his passport, and then take blood out to get a DNA test before I'm even going to let him in the house, let alone some fool on the phone talking, saying he's fallen in love with me.
It's just tragic. And it happens. Shit.
It's just, these are cases of extreme loneliness. I mean, part of it is, I'll say, get a dog. I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that in a rude way. But I can tell you, after moving here 5 years ago, it's been the dogs who have brought us all together in neighborhoods so often because people just start talking. If you find it hard to have a conversation with somebody, somebody will always strike up a conversation if you have a dog with you.
You're a
And it's like,
sad old dog person. Mike, tell me what I think about dogs. Dogs are the worst things in the world. Oh my God.
oh my
Paul, no,
God.
no, Paul, Jeff is,
You're,
Jeff,
okay, I mean,
no,
you,
Jeff has had a series of beautiful
I've had all
labs. He's got one
yes.
now, he's a great, he's
These-
a gorgeous dog. And Jeff even lets him ride around in his Porsche with him in the front seat, slobbering all over everything.
Oh, my
And then
God,
he
he is the
complains about the dog and complains about him.
I
And
know
he
you
loves
haven't,
it. He
I'm
loves
you
gonna
it.
haven't,
show a
you,
picture
you
of him
haven't,
here
you haven't
splayed
mentioned
out.
that. You have not mentioned that dog in a few episodes, so
No, I haven't. He's been pissing
I'm,
me
I'm,
off more.
I'm going to be in touch with
Lazy.
Val soon just to make sure the dog's well-being is okay.
Wish I had some sheep and I go make him do something constructive, like chase some sheep around or something. All right. Since YouTube isn't putting ads on our site because they're ageists, we're going to do our own commercial right here. Are you a Gen Xer having trouble meeting women because all you do is look at porn? You can't cook because all you do is order DoorDash? And you don't know how to write cursive or play sports or drive a stick shift? If this is you, or if you know someone like this, email us and we'll send you the Old People This Week Boomer Guide to Life. In this pamphlet, we'll teach you how to read a map, write in cursive, do mental math, perform simple household tasks, repair a car, read a map. Oh, I already said that. How to use to teach you how to use a manual can opener, write a check, and tell time on an analog clock. And there's more. Order now before 9 p.m. and we'll throw in a free picture of Mike wearing a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And that's a keeper.
That's
That's
a-
a keeper.
Cover up that head of yours.
Look at this. Look at this perfect head.
Wow.
All right, we're back to where were we? Paul, you were going to talk about a little streaming.
Oh, okay. So we were talking last week. We
Lotus.
didn't get to it, but last week we were going to talk about Running Point. It's been a long time since I binged a series, but I binged all, I think, 8 episodes of it, and it's about the Lakers, or it's based on the Lakers. It's brought to us by Mindy Kaling, who is in The Office, and she got together with Jeannie Buss and basically had free run over the entire creative, and it's like, oh yeah, go for my brothers, go for me, go for anything. And Kate Hudson plays Jeannie Buss, and let the insanity ensue. It's really fun.
I have beefs about it because when I saw that Jeannie was involved and also Kurt Rambis's wife, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were executive producers, and I knew they were going to sugarcoat some of it. And her giving that speech in the locker room to try to get them psyched up for Game 7 with phony baloney. And they had every stereotype in there. They had the daughter taking over the team. They had the inept drug-using older brother, the brother who's on the spectrum idiot, the gay brother, and then the Hispanic son who comes out of the woodwork. But I agree with you. I think Kate Hudson did a great job. I've never been a fan of hers, but she did a great
No,
job.
but on this one, I think she did a job
Yeah.
well done. And the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly, you already touched on White Lotus, which Sunday nights they roll out with those new episodes in season 3, followed immediately by my local favorite TV show because it's shot here in Charleston, Righteous Gemstones, which is in its last season. And oh my gosh, if you live in the South, and yes, I gotta say the take on the religious fractions down here, it's hysterical. It is just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Thank you, Paul. That's great. Actually, I'm going to check that out. All right. So we're always talking about how animals are trying to take over the world. And I've been telling people, stay away from animals in general. I don't like dogs. I don't like monkeys. Especially don't like squirrels because they are crazy. Now, here's a dude, I think he's also from LA, who keeps squirrels. And he has one that just, it acts nuts in this video.
It's just natural squirrel energy. But look at this. Baby, ain't no couch in sight. That baby doing a somersault, flip, roll, belly flop, karate kick, stretch.
You see, there's something deranged about that squirrel. I mean, the way it's rolling around and hopping around and flopping, that's not normal. Maybe
love
it's
the
got
flip-flops.
rabies or something.
Yeah, the flip-flops are great. Jumping up and down.
Yeah, it's rabbit. That's what's wrong. Yeah.
That's what I look like after I used to do drugs in the 70s in New York City, flying around like that. And here's a deranged squirrel. I just want to show you. I saw it out the window. Watch the noise. Listen to the noise this thing makes. This is where he's calling out to his friend, going,
Yeah, come on over. Come on over.
"Mean squirrel."
He's home. Come on over. Let's tear her out.
Crazy.
It's like those scary. I'm watching this thing, by the way, called The Watcher. Oh my Lord! It's one of those ones where when a family moves into a big house that's somehow was a little underpriced, and next thing they know, they're getting letters every day saying, I'm watching you. Yeah, your daughter is nice looking at her. It's one of those crazy. All right. Thank you everybody for checking out our podcast today.
Absolutely.
Please subscribe. If you subscribe, we'll send you exclusive video that's not on the show. For example, we have video of Mike and I eating beer nuts at happy hour and laughing, arms over each other, just having a good time. You'll love that.
Moments before the authorities arrived.
Yeah, moments before when they take our keys away, right then. Send us a video, and any kind of video, we'll include it on the show, especially if you goof on Mike's hair. I like videos, and send me your comments.
Just be careful if you goof on my hair. I know where you live.
Allison, I don't care about Mike or his blue shirt. I may have to never mention it again if you say anything about that blue shirt again.
Allison, you keep it up. Don't listen to these guys. This is elder abuse. I take elder abuse every week when I'm around Jeff.
And what else? Oh, send us an email at oldpeoplethisweek@gmail.com. We'd love hearing your comments. We do share them now with people. I think there's going to come a point where we're not going to be able to share all of them, but we like sharing the good ones, especially the ones that are
Ask us
complimentary.
a question. We'll be happy to answer anything you say.
Yeah, anything. Any financial question, sexual question, anything you want to know, we'll answer it. Also, we now have a phone number where you can leave voice messages for Mike, Paul, or I.
Fabulous.
That number is, and I'll put it on the screen here, 310-800-1830. And by the way, Mike, the first message I got was somebody saying something inappropriate. I know that was your voice, so please don't do it again. All right, thank you all. Thank you all for coming. See you next week. Adios, amigos.
Adios. Goodbye, everybody.
All right, that was a good one.
Here's the Old People This Week quote of the week. Everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the mouth. Mike Tyson.